What's going on, everybody? It is Patrick Siepman here on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports, giving you guys our latest mailbag. These are my favorite shows we do every single week here on the channel, where it's just me and you guys chopping it up about our favorite football team, the Minnesota Vikings. Haven't been live in a while, so you guys haven't seen a mailbag here in a couple of weeks, but we will be getting to these two guys more often with the offseason ramping up. Now, Skull Crusher coming in there, saying, should the Vikings trade up for Caleb Downs in the NFL Draft? Obviously, depends on the asking price, but I would. I have thrown out the trade idea of you package pick number 18, Jordan Addison. You call the Cleveland Browns at pick number 6 if he is falling on draft night, and you offer that to Cleveland. I think that would be more than a fair enough trade offer for both sides. You're giving Cleveland a top 30 wide receiver in the National Football League just to move back 12 spots in the NFL Draft. Now, some Vikings fans think that's an overpay. I probably think it's a slight overpay, but also, are you going to pay Jordan Addison? You're probably not. I don't think paying two wide receivers $28, $35 million is the best situation for the Vikings right now. And if you get a blue-chip prospect like Caleb Downs with Brian Flores and this defense would no doubt be top 3 in the league next season. You would be having the next Kyle Hamilton. This guy, I forget who compared him to Eric Weddle, but I love that comp as well. I mean, that guy was a 5-time All-Pro in the National Football League. So I would package Jordan Addison, pick number 18, try to move up. If he is falling in the draft, you call up Cleveland and you see if they would do it. But Caleb Downs, I mean, he's a blue-chip guy. I think he's the best player in the draft by far. I understand the whole safety, positional value nonsense. Just draft the best player. Caleb Downs is the best player in this draft class, so I would do it 110%. Jetta's20 coming in here with the next question, saying, what do you think about signing both Nakobe Dean and Jamel Dean? Also, what do you think about Zach Wilson? So, first off, about Nakobe Dean, I would have some interest in him. I think it would be a really solid scheme fit with Brian Flores, especially that archetype of linebacker, very similar to Eric Wilson. We just saw Eric Wilson have a great year for the Vikings defense. I think Nakobe Dean falls in that bill. Probably will get around 3 for 25. We've seen floated out there for Nakobe Dean. Very athletic, a little undersized, so does struggle in coverage a little bit. But again, when you have that type of linebacker next to a guy like Blake Cashman, who is elite in coverage, also very good against the run, I would like Nakobe Dean. Jamel Dean, absolutely. I just think he's going to be out of the Vikings' price range. Even though the Vikings can get to a point where they have $40, $60 million to spend in free agency, I don't know if they're just going to go pay big money for a corner like that. I think they'll sign a corner similar to like the Isaiah Rodgers contract, 2 for 15. But I think the Vikings' big pickup at the cornerback position will come in the first 2 rounds of the NFL Draft. Whether that is in the first round and they go out there and they draft Jermod McCoy, maybe Mansour Delane potentially falls to 18. I doubt it. But I think they're going to attack corner in the first round, or they could attack safety. But one of the first 2 picks for the Vikes will go corner. My thoughts on Zach Wilson. We have Zach Wilson at home, and his name is J.J. McCarthy. Wouldn't have too much interest in there. Reed Southern, what's going on? Saying, do you think anybody will be traded this season from the Vikings? Yeah, if I had to put money on it, I would say yeah, especially with the amount of bad contracts the Vikings have. Like, I'm sure Minnesota is going to do the due diligence and call teams about T.J. Hawkinson and just say, hey, would you trade a 6th, 7th-round pick for Hawk potentially? Now, that team would have to take on his contract, so they would most likely say no. But even a guy like Javon Hargrave, I'm sure his Vikes will call teams about Hargrave being on the block. But I would probably put this as a 50% chance on either side that they make a trade this offseason. I'd probably say yes. I mean, teams – also, it could be like a home run trade like the Jordan Addison, Jonathan Grenards of the world, where if you want to elevate Dallas Turner, get him to that full-time starting role, trade Grenard, move off his $22 million, get possibly a 2nd, 3rd-round pick for him, or you just trade Jordan Addison. Maybe you're sick of his off-the-field nonsense. You're not going to pay him next year that $25, $28 million that he's going to want, and you just upgrade Jalen Naylor, the wide receiver, too. Yeah, I think the Vikings will eventually make a trade this offseason. Corey Miller saying, do you think we'll ever get a prominent run game out of O'Connell? I mean, we have no evidence to say yes. You would have thought this past season. Like, that was probably the most frustrating part of this past year. Like, we can talk about the quarterback play. We can talk about J.J. McCarthy. We can talk even about the short yardage play calling for Kevin O'Connell, the injuries. Like, there was a lot that went wrong this past season, but the one thing that drove me crazy, where the hell was the run game? I mean, you have just think about how simple this is. You have J.J. McCarthy, who is coming off a season-ending knee injury, his first year starting, coming from Michigan, where what did Michigan do so well? They ran the football. How do you make a quarterback's life easier? You run the football, and then seeing Sam Darnold, NFC Championship game, they're running all over the Rams. Super Bowl, their running back won Super Bowl MVP in Kenneth Walker. Like, everything went wrong this season, but the one thing that bothered me the most was, like, I was going into it saying this is the year KOC finally gets a run game. This is the year that he stays more committed to the run, and he didn't. And a lot of the times he left his quarterbacks out to the dry. Even, another little rant here, even in Seattle, you have Max Brosmer, a true UDFA, starting at quarterback, and you threw the ball 39 times that game. What the hell are you doing? Why would you do that? It's Max Brosmer going against the Seahawks defense on the road when your own defense held Seattle to under 20 points. Like, you had a chance to go win that football game if you have a good run game. So I think if I had to say yes or no to that, I would probably say no, because if there was any year we were going to do it, it would have been last. But I will say Frank Smith, coming from the Dolphins as assistant head coach, he's got a really good run game history, so maybe that improves it somewat. But Andrew coming in saying, how many free agents from the outside do you think we bring in this offseason? We obviously have to clear up cap space to make it happen. If I had to put a number on it, I don't know. I mean, the Vikings signed, 7 free agents last year? Fries, Kelly, Hargrave Allen, Isaiah Rodgers. That was like the big 5. Then you had like the on the margin guys like the Jeff Okudas. This year I'd probably say 2 or 3. I don't think it's going to be a lot. I mean, even if they clear up a bunch of money, you're eventually going to get to a point where it's like, all right, like if you do everything, if you make all the restructures, you cut all the players that are out there that could be cut, you're only going to be able to get to $40 or $60 million. So I'd probably say about 2 to 3. But again, it comes down to if the Vikings end up making all of these moves. But hey, a huge topic of conversation this offseason is the quarterback position. But you guys let me know, who do you not want as QB1 next season? Like, who's the guy taking snaps week 1 where you're like, I'm not watching this football team anymore. I'm turning the Vikings off. For me, it would be Geno Smith. Even if it's Mac Jones, Kirk Cousins, okay, I could get into it. Even if it's freaking Jimmy Garoppolo, I could buy into that more than I could the Geno Smith. Geno, I would be absolutely out on. You guys let me know, who do you not want as quarterback 1 next season? We'll get to more of you guys' questions here in a second, but we do have our St. Patrick's Day merch live right now. Chatsports.com/VikingsGreen. Hit that link in the comments section and description of today's show. Sweet design. You guys can obviously rock the green one on St. Patrick's Day, but you guys can rock this black one all year long. Love the design. Shout out to our graphics team for that. Just hit that link, chatsports.com/VikingsGreen. Right now, they're going for $29.99. So take advantage of that deal. Order it right now so it gets there before St. Patrick's Day. Love the green look, love the black look, and trust me, you guys will too. Also, very comfortable T-shirts as well, and you guys also get to support Chat Sports here. Second piece of merch that we ever came out with, so I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Connor Vikings, what's going on? Saying, are the Vikings going to pay Jaylen Redmond this offseason? Man, I hope so. That is the one move I think the Vikings should, like, if you're doing anything, obviously quarterback's number 1. That second move has to be giving Jaylen Redmond that extension. Listen, you have his rights. You could technically have him play on a vet minimum contract next season. I would pay him just a 4-year deal, tack on 2 void years, push that money down the line, still give yourself the ability to keep his cap hit low in 2026. But you lock him up this offseason, because if he replicates what he did in 2025 and 2026, you're going to probably have to pay him top of the league money at the defensive tackle spot. So, yeah, absolutely. Pay Jaylen Redmond whatever he wants. Horius coming in saying, do you think we would have won the Super Bowl last year if we had a good running game? No, absolutely not. If you had a good running game, you're probably in the playoffs. Even with the quarterback play you had. I mean, you went 9-8, and you had the second worst quarterback play in the league, and you had no run game. But you're not winning a Super Bowl. You're not winning a playoff game with J.J. McCarthy or Max Brosmer playing the way they did. Now, do they play better with a good run game? Absolutely. winning a Super Bowl, though. No, I thought this question was going to go, do you think we would have won a Super Bowl last year with Sam Darnold? And I would have said no to that, too. You just didn't have a run game. It's like having a bullpen in the MLB. You cannot win Super Bowls if you can't run the football. That's why Kevin O'Connell, he's great. Everybody in the NFL thinks he's great. KOC, everybody loves KOC except for Vikings fans. He's got to get a run game this next year, or else the Vikings, it just limits what you can do. Reed Southern saying, do you think we could draft a tight end or just roll with Josh Oliver? If you do cut TJ Hawkinson, you need to bring in a tight end. Absolutely. You could not just have Josh Oliver beat the tight end one for this football team because, first off, multiple tight end sets are the meta in the NFL right now. You need two good tight ends. Like, I think when you're building a roster, I think probably 5 years ago, you're saying, all right, it would be nice to have a good backup tight end. In my opinion, it is a need. Like Josh Oliver, top 5 run blocking tight end in the league. I think he's a high-end tight end, too. I mean, you're paying him $8 million, so he should be. But if you lose TJ Hawkinson, maybe you draft a guy, maybe you pay somebody in free agency, but you're going to have to bring in another tight end there because you can't just roll out with Josh Oliver and Gavin Bartholomew. I mean, that would be one of the worst tight end rooms in the NFL for next season. Andrew, what's going on? Saying, I feel like with all these articles about JJ and the analytics breaking down his struggles, KOC is going to be asked a lot about it at the Combine next week. Absolutely. Especially the Alec Lewis report coming out that KOC had apparently limit his playbook in terms of getting rid of the over the middle of the field throws. KOC is going to be asked about that. At least he should be asked about that. The number one question, though, that I'm asking Kevin O'Connell, and I'm praying our guys here at Chat Sports are given the ability to do so, is has your evaluation of J.J. McCarthy changed since the 2024 NFL Draft? The obvious answer to that is yes, but I just want to hear what he says. If he says no, I still have full faith in J.J. McCarthy and him getting to that mountaintop and getting to the best version of himself. I think that would be pretty telling. But also KOC, I can't see him ripping McCarthy during this press conference like he was during the year. I think he's going to be ultra positive. I bet you it's going to be a typical offseason Kevin O'Connell press conferences. Everything's good. It is all positive. There are no problems in the world. We are all fine. J.J. McCarthy's the best quarterback in the world. I mean, it's just how it's kind of been. Even when they brought in Darnold, he ended up being right about Darnold, but it was just all positivity during the offseason from O'Connell. So we'll see if that changes at the Combine. But no, Andrew, I'm with you. I absolutely can't wait for it. Jed is saying, what do you think about trading Gernard to the Titans and taking a running back at 35? 35, good for both sides. Yeah, I mean, if you got the 35th pick, I don't know if I'd want them to take a running back. If it's Gernard for 35, I'd probably lean towards yes. I'd probably, if I'm running the Vikings, that's a trade you probably have a 2-hour conversation about. Gernard for the 35th pick. I think that's probably a yes. I mean, that's damn near a first-round pick for Jonathan Gernard. Jonathan Gernard's great. I mean, fantastic for the Vikings defense, but you have Dallas Turner there. You still have Van Ginkel. I mean, you still have an elite edge duo. If you get the 35th pick, maybe you can get another safety. Maybe you can get another corner. But in terms of a running back, I would probably say no on drafting one at 35. Now, we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you guys watch this entire mailbag, just hit me with those goals down below in the comment section. We'll get on out of here. As always, let's go Vikes.